News. I'm Symphony Thompson. Over the weekend, the Colorado Buffaloes would face off against the Oregon State Beavers, where the team head coached by Deion Sanders would fall short, bringing their overall record to 4-5. The loss gave critics of Deion Sanders another chance to bring down the team, and the latest games brought out an unlikely critic, Samuel Jackson. The iconic actor let his feelings out after the game on Saturday night, expressing his frustrations when it came to Colorado college football. Jackson took to Twitter, added "CU Bus Football," and wrote, "Brain farts all around. The OC can't call 3-run plays to get off the field. The DC can't get his guys to stop a baby carriage. Shiloh can barely walk and is going to end up playing wheelchair football behind that O-line. My rage is better served watching villains in a good Bollywood movie. Shamshara, here I come. No more buff ball tonight." One user would comment to correct Jackson on misidentifying one of Sanders' sons. The user said, "Shadur, I got them confused earlier too. Shiloh is 21. And Jackson would respond to that message acknowledging his mistake. "Yes, that's right, and I'm also going to learn to spell it correctly also." Now, that wouldn't be the only time Jackson would respond directly to a fan in regards to CU football. One user specifically asked if he had anything to say about Deion and the way he handled coaching. The tweet read, "No criticism for the head coach, though, I see. Look, like he was just standing around watching. Did you see him using a mic or communicating with any other coach before the half was over?" Now, it's no secret that Deion and the Buffaloes have been under a microscope this entire season, as many who were against Deion have used any loss to justify why he isn't the man for the head coaching position.
Very concerned about the linemen that are supposed to protect my son. Remember, football's serious. People get paralyzed in football. They get brain damage in football. Like, you can be injured in a major way. So the linemen that are supposed to protect my son, I've just insulted them by saying, "You're going to be gone next year."
Absolutely.
And so that, that's like if like I'll tell you, for example, I got security when I was at the All Black National Convention. I had a security guard. I'm always nice to my security. I never look down at him. I never talk shit to him. I never, because that person can decide, if you're gonna get hurt or not. Like, they can easily let somebody, get slipped through the cracks. And and I think that with Coach Prime in his speaking, I think maybe it seems to me like he's learning that you can't talk the same way in a Power 5 conference that you might have been able to talk at an HBCU. What do you think?
Well, till that, it's not that you can't, you're just going to be critiqued differently, right? You say those things at Jackson State, there's going to be a sector of people that give you some criticism, and there's going to be a sector. That's not to say you can just skate by free, but there's going to be a sector, but they have a small voice compared to your megaphone. Right. But you say that at Colorado, see, now you're not dealing with local reporters and YouTubers and bloggers. Now you're dealing with people with massive platforms, right? Massive platforms that can criticize you in ways that you just simply weren't going to get criticized at Jackson State. Hell, you might have got praised for saying some of that stuff at Jackson State, because Black folks, one thing we always appreciate is honesty. In most cases, we're going to appreciate it. We can laugh at it. We can do whatever. But as some of these other people, they're going to be like, hold on now. That's my son out there blocking for your son. That's my people that you talking about now. This ain't a Pleasantville anymore. This is now like you in a different type of space. And when you say that about our folks, we gonna have something to say back. We gonna have, like, in all of that, while you criticizing us, what about you? Now people gonna shine the mirror on you. What are you doing coaching? Why is your coaching staff lacking? Why are you guys, you keep talking about the O-line, but what about the defense that's giving up a bunch of points? What about this? What about that? So people are gonna try to poke holes in what you're doing wrong when you're criticizing one side of the ball, and when they feel like you're have some nepotism or daddy ball type of stuff going on because your sons do play on the team. And whether they're right or wrong for that, I don't know. Like, it's depending on the is depending on what lens you want to look at it through, because there are things that takes place on that team, and you kind of like, that probably wouldn't fly at Alabama. That probably wouldn't fly at Ohio State. That probably wouldn't go down like that at some of the premier programs across the country. And if you want to be one of these, and for most people, what is taking place at Colorado, albeit it has been successful. I mean, they've won 4 games as opposed to 1 last year. Has been, relatively successful. It's like, will that translate to when you want to be? Because right now, winning 4 games is cool, but that ain't going to get you in a national championship game. And so if you want to compete with those programs, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Michigans of this year, Will it happen in that type of style? Will that style translate to getting you a national championship? Because quite frankly, we just haven't seen it yet. And that's not to say that it won't, but we just haven't seen all the cameras, the flamboyancy, the watches, the big braggadocious stuff actually win a title at the collegiate level in 2023. Now the Miami, they had their style, they had swag, and they was winning championships. So that's not to say that it's impossible. But in 2023, the teams that have won a lot of games and won the titles and been the champs, they haven't done it the way that Prime's doing it. And so everybody's on pins and needles to see, will that type of flash and arrogance and bravado translate to actual wins on the field? Because at first it did, but now it's kind of coming back to bite you. And in the new age of social media, when you're calling folks out and you're doing things to young men who are in college now, these are college players, these aren't pros, these aren't professionals, and you're the 50-something-year-old head coach, essentially telling your guys to hit the portal, but they still have to play for you the rest of the year, but basically saying you got 4 or 5 more games and then you're going to be out of here. How is that going to translate the rest of the season? Everything is now magnified in this new day and age of social media, because you don't think those dudes who are playing on that offensive line, mamas, daddies, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, and family, calling them and say, you see what your coach said about you? He basically saying you ain't going to be there next year. What you got to say about that? They said, his son getting killed because of you. You know what I mean? Like, how is that going to translate in that locker room? How is that going to go over in that locker room? I guess we all have to wait and see.
Man, you know what?
Yo, what's going on, Carver Wrenches TV? So we just saw another clip from Dr. Boyce Watkins talking about Deion. And after reviewing this clip, I gotta say, they're kind of spot on. Coach Sanders is under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny right now down in Colorado. He suffered another loss this weekend to Oregon State, 26-19. And a lot of controversy centered around his offensive line, which I feel like they're not protecting themselves. This offensive line is not in a winning position. Again, they're standing in a 4 or 5 wide receiver sets when they need to be going I formation and double tight ends to help alleviate some of this pressure that's being applied to Shedeur Sanders. Coach Prime now has the fight of his life in his young coaching career. We all know Coach Prime is a Hall of Famer, and he's a very flamboyant person. But I don't think those qualities is going to help him right now. He must get it more into coaching. I don't like the fact that he says they need to bring more people in. To me, more people is not going to alleviate the problem that they have. These kids must be coached up right. And right now, Coach Prime doesn't seem like the man for the job. While I believe in Coach Prime and I believe in what he has going on, he has to show that he's a real Division I coach and not a laughingstock, which he seems to be right now in the coaching circles. Coach Prime is definitely somebody that I'm rooting for, and I hope that he can turn it around and lead Colorado to greener pastures. But right now, it doesn't seem that. It just seems like it's a lot of talking and a lot of flash and a lot of bravado instead of winning. But that's just my opinion. And this has been another one, Carver Wrenches TV. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and please leave all comments below.